I had once, and I dropped out from time to time as an undergraduate to make some money.
Oh, okay.
I was fascinated, and then a week later, after I'd graduated, I got a letter from the supervisor of the Idaho National, and he said, "Can you delay your arrival to McCall, Idaho, headquarters until the 1st of June? We got some budget problems." So I went to, as a result of that letter, and meanwhile I'd gotten married. We didn't, either one of us, have any money. And so I went to see Stakeman, and I said, I was scheduled to go on my permanent job with the Forest Service last week, but I got a letter saying my appointment had been delayed to June 1st, so I'd like to register in graduate school for a quarter. He said, "That's a pretty damn poor reason to start graduate." But he looked at my record and he said, "Okay, I'll give you a chance." And so I never really went back to forestry. Scheduled to take notes on the diseases of oat lines. And the graduate student, whoever he was, didn't show up. And somebody came up to the lab and said, "Stakeman wants you to come down and go with him out to take notes." And I went out there with the field book. I'd never worked on oats, worked on wheat or any small grain. I was working with Emmer and J.J. Christensen on corn diseases and barley at that time. And so they started in bickering and arguing about whether it was a tree pustule or a 2+. And we went on for, I just stood there petrified listening to them argue for about 2 hours in the first 15 rows. Then somebody looked at the watch and said, "It's getting late." So then we took it. But that debate was going on all the time. Yeah. And I was down in the Minnesota breeding plots looking at their material. They were using some of the Mexican dwarf parents. And Charlie heard I was down there, and he came down and he said, "What in the hell were you guys doing back in the 30s that you didn't know enough to backcross to find the genes for resistance in the Chinese chestnut and the American chestnut cross?" And I said, "At that time, I didn't even know what the word genetics meant." But, and he came to visit for a month or two with Sterling. And I remember he came out to Chipingo to see my wheat plots. And they were about so high, it was early July. And he said, "Now, he'd heard something about this heresy. Where is this growing, the seed from these plants growing at that time?" I said, "See that over the corn?" He said, "Where's that? I don't understand geography of Mexico." I said, "Well, that's about 28 degrees latitude north and about 100 meters above sea level. And here we're about 18 degrees latitude north and 3,500 feet. 3,500. He said, "My God, you never learned anything about the first day of breeding in my first plant breeding course because of flying against everything. But I think he by then was convinced himself. You know how he used to gig people, try to get them to speak their own mind. You had to deal with three bureaucracies in moving new technology into production. One, the scientific bureaucracy. Two, the administrative bureaucracies. And third, the political bureaucracies. And unless you could maneuver through this jungle, you were never going to be able to transplant a new technology. And the older scientists who had reached the top had generally spent 25 to 30 years in this miserable bureaucracy they had. I'd like to talk to them the first day. I'd say, we're going to teach you to be rebels, not with guns and daggers, but with science and technology. Then the last day before they'd leave, I'd tell them, now, I want to tell you, don't destroy yourself. If you go back and try to change everything the first day, the first week, the first year, you'll be destroyed by the scientific bureaucracy. They'll cut your throat from year to year. You've got to wait. You've got to get data. You've got to wait till there are quite a few of you that have seen this difference that can come. Because in the '60s, I saw the lack of trained people, except in India and Egypt. But too often I saw that they put on their white lab coats when they came back and never went out in the plots. And so I decided I have to do something about that. And that's when I got that training program going in the spring of '66, with people starving in India and Pakistan. They said, I said, you've got to import commercial quantity. You can't rely on multiplying your own seed. No, it's never been done in commercial quantity. I said, there's the data. They didn't have that kind of data either. And they made it in India first, 18,000 tons. And next year, 42,000 tons in Pakistan, 23,000 in Turkey, and about 9,000 in Brazil. But it was the international cooperative testing that these young students mostly had done on their own in the beginning.
During the 70s, you were an inspiration to so many students, and that was one of the big attractions. There was this big thing about we wanted to be the world, and there was a real excitement about it, seeing the leaps that were taking place. So we need to keep that up, and hopefully your speech today will do some of that.
Impact was very great from that period because we don't reflect on the fact that India in 1965 had a population of about 450 million people. By the year 2000, it had a population of a billion, more than a billion, and yet wheat production had gone from static 11 million tons a year to 75 million, and rice similar.
When you got the Nobel Peace Prize, right after that, we had a spike in enrollment in our agricultural colleges. I think it went directly back to that, and people a lot of urban students realized they could do something in the world. But then it kind of died down, and I don't know, it's coming back now a little bit, but
I want to thank you so much, Dr. Borlaug. This has been amazing, and I look forward to your talk tonight.
Go practice.
Yes.
Maybe watch a little football. Watch a little football.
priority.